Won't you come on over later and waste my time? Is this what it looks like, honey?
Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad you're here and I'm so glad you clicked on today's video. I am going to be attempting to finish every book series I am currently in the middle of. This is actually part 3 of a little series I started on my channel a few months ago, so if you haven't seen part 1 or part 2, definitely go check those ones out. In part 2, I actually left you guys off on a cliffhanger. At the end of part 2, I was reading Bloody Heart by Sophie Lark. This is book 4 or 5, I believe, in the Brutal Birthright series, and I never reviewed it or finished it in that video, so we are going to be talking about it today. And then I also never finished A Court of Wings and Ruin by Sarah J. Maas. This is another book I left you guys on a cliffhanger with. I have the littlest bit to go in this. I think I have 20 or 30 minutes left in the audiobook, so we're definitely going to be finishing this one today. If you want to see me start these books or talk about more of the Brutal Birthright series, definitely go check out part 2 of this because then you'll be more caught up. But this is a little sneak peek in today's video. I've been getting a lot of positive feedback on this little series I've been doing, so I thought I would just keep going with it. I love picking up book series that I kind of just left off in the middle of. It's just really fun to jump back into those worlds, those characters, those relationships, and we are going to see how far I can make it before falling asleep, before being KO'd and unable to read the words on the pages. We're gonna see how far I can make it tonight. I feel like I have a lot of energy right now, but we'll see. Usually I start to crash after midnight and it's just, things get crazy after midnight. We're gonna see how far we can make it. We're gonna see how many books we can read. I do have some new releases planned for this video that I am just so excited for because they're some of my most anticipated reads of 2023. I'm gonna talk to you a little bit about my book club in a little bit, and yeah, we're just gonna have a lot of fun. We're gonna vibe. It's cozy fall weather. It's the perfect time to be curled up inside reading books, and that's exactly what we're gonna do today. Okay, so I have a pretty stack of books here that we're gonna jump right into, but before we do, I actually want to do a quick review of Bloody Heart because as I mentioned earlier, I did finish this in part 2 of my little series I'm doing here, so I thought we'd talk all about it. This is book 4 in the Brutal Birthright series by Sophie Lark. If you're not familiar, this is like a dark mafia romance series, and it revolves around 2 mafia families. There's an Italian one and an Irish one, and then each book basically follows the love story of like a different sibling from each family. In book 1, we see the families unite because one sibling from each family is actually forced into an arranged marriage, and then from there, every book starts to cover the other siblings, and it's been such a roller coaster. I actually started this series in the beginning of this year, and I hadn't picked it up until last month again, so I've been on a roller coaster with this entire series. Jumping back into it last month, I was a little bit nervous because they are on the darker side. I mean, they are dark mafia romances, so obviously it's going to be darker, but jumping back into it, I just remember being extremely nervous because book 2 is a really weird type of trope. In book 2, basically like a Polish mobster kidnaps the youngest Griffin. It's such a weird love story, but it's basically a Beauty and the Beast retelling. That's kind of the idea of the whole story, and I just remember going into that being like, there's no way I'm going to like that book or that trope. There's no way I'm gonna fall in love with that couple, and then by the end of it, it was game over. I was swooning over the couple, and I partially felt like a bad person for liking it so much because it's so twisted and messed up. Like, I love it for them, but I would never love it in real life or like for myself. Anyways, that definitely started like the roller coaster of this series because I was so sucked into book 2, I had to keep going. I think every book in the series has been 4 stars for me, including this one. Bloody Heart was a 4-star for me. I have to say with this one, I was definitely the most excited for because it tells the story of the oldest Gallo, Dante, and throughout the first 3 books, you get glimpses into who Dante is, and he's just always sulking around, being mopey. You're kind of wondering what his deal is. You get a lot of backstory on them throughout the series, and in this book specifically, you get so much backstory on Dante and what he's been through. This is exactly what I wanted for Dante's story. I think it was absolutely perfect. It has a second chance trope in it. It kind of has like a little bit of a forbidden love vibe because Dante falls in love with a girl from a very like prestige type of family. Something else I really liked about this story that is totally different from the first 3 books is that it actually begins in past time. We get to see Dante and Simone meet for the first time when they're younger. I do feel like it wasn't as dark and twisted as the first 2 books. Book 3 also wasn't that dark and twisted. It was more of like like Fast and Furious vibes, which I also really liked, but I really enjoyed it. I wound up giving it 4 stars. I do want to jump into book 5 of the series in today's vlog, and that covers, I believe, one of the daughters from the Irish mafia family, and I believe the romance is between her and one of Dante's friends, so I think it's going to be such a good one. This was a really fun one. I highly recommend the Brutal Birthright series if you're looking for a fun, dark mafia romance. They're so much fun. They're addicting. You literally get sucked in within chapter 1 in every single book. I'm not kidding. And they're just a lot of fun. I really love those books. I'm happy I gave them a chance, and it's definitely made me more interested in reading more mafia type books maybe in the future. With that being said though, we are gonna hop right into the vlog. I do already have our first book picked out. It's not gonna be a book that we actually complete in this vlog, and I'll tell you guys about it in a second, but I'm so excited to start it because it is one of my most anticipated new book releases for 2023, and I loved book 1 so much. Our first read in today's vlog is gonna be Wildfire by Hannah Grace. This book just came out earlier this month, and I've been waiting for it all year long. I actually have the other one. This is book 1 in the series, Icebreaker. I read this earlier this year, and it was so good. I'm such a sucker for a good hockey romance, and this definitely did not disappoint. I tell everyone that if you are into the off-campus series, if you like Elle Kennedy vibes, you will eat this book up and love it. I personally think I loved it more than The Deal and the other books in the off-campus series. The Deal is one of my OG favorite books, but this one definitely takes the cake. The romance was such a good, cheesy, sappy romance, and I feel like at the time I really needed that. This was adorable. I'm obsessed. Book 2 tells the story of Russ and Aurora. First of all, love that her name's Aurora. Basically, from what I've read so far about it, is they hook up at a party one night, and then they both end up being camp counselors at the same place, and they realize it, and they're like, oh, this is weird. I was very excited because I ordered special editions of Wildfire and Icebreaker a little bit ago, and they came in the mail today. I'm absolutely obsessed with them. This is the special edition of Icebreaker. It's also so different compared to the original cover, which I really like. And then I love the Wildfire one. This one is so gorgeous. And then compared to the OG cover, absolutely stunning. I'm obsessed with these. I love the cutie characters on these covers, but there's something about these just make them seem more cozy and lovey-dovey. But we are going to be starting Wildfire for our first book in today's vlog. I'm not going to be completing it completely in this vlog because I'm actually buddy reading it with bestie Allie. If you're watching this video, you've definitely seen her videos and know who she is. She's the book queen who actually came up with this fun and brilliant idea to finish book series she's in the middle of. I thought it'd be really fun and fitting to include this read in today's video. If you've been around on my channel for a while, if you follow me over on Instagram, you guys have probably heard me talk about my book club that I run over on the app Fable. It's basically an online platform where you can go and read books with your friends. You can create book clubs on there. And something else that's really cool with Fable is that you can purchase books directly on their app to read them within the book club, and you can annotate and leave notes. It's such a fun way to interact with other people and talk about books you love. You're also able to create your own little book clubs where you can buddy read with your friends and family. So I'm actually buddy reading Wildfire with bestie Allie and our little Fable book club together. It's super cool because it's just the two of us going through and reading the book together. We're able to leave notes for every chapter, ask each other questions. There's also a lot of really cool options if you decide to use their e-reader on the app. They're able to highlight, annotate, ask questions, interact with other members talking about specific chapters or quotes or scenes. It's totally free to join, and it's so easy to sign up and create your own club. You can use my link down below to download the app for free. You can create your own cutie little book club where you can invite friends and family to join in, pick books together every month by holding polls, and then I'll also have Allie's video linked down below. Fable also has a ton of other tools you can use within the app. They have list building features where you can build your TBR, books you've read, and then something new they just added is like an in-feed feature. It's just an endless stream of book content from other readers and people you follow. It's such a positive and uplifting environment for readers. That is that. We are gonna jump right into Wildfire by Hannah Grace. I am so excited about this one. I'm only gonna read up to chapter 3 because that's where Allie last read up to, and we're gonna add notes and stuff as we go. Okay guys, I read up to chapter 3. I just finished adding my little comments in our book club. So far, it's just so stinking cute. Like, I remember when I started Icebreaker, feelings and vibes I got just from reading like the very first chapter. I was immediately hooked and I loved Nate's character and Stassi's character, and that's exactly how I'm feeling about this book so far. Russ is definitely giving off like shy vibes, which I really like. I feel like in book 1, Nate didn't really give off those type of vibes. So I'm happy we're getting a different type of character in this book. And then Rory, which I absolutely love, giving Gilmore Girls vibes. Rory comes across very bold and like out there, which I also really like. So we only read the first few chapters, so we're just kind of getting like story set up right now, but it really is giving off all the good happy vibes that I remember from book 1, and I'm so excited to keep going with it. I think I might read like a few more chapters of this tonight, maybe later on when I'm going to bed, but I'm gonna hold off for right now. I could not recommend book 1 enough, and I can already tell this is going to be so much fun and just as adorable. So stinking cute. I do feel like the beginning was kind of sad though, because some of like the hockey guys are graduating and it's like their last party together, and there were some sad moments in there. There were also some funny moments. We got a little Stassi and Nate cameo, which I love. I'm happy we started with something fun and cute like that, but now the time has come. We have to finish this book because I have been on it for quite some time. I've been listening to the dramatized audiobook for it because so many of you had recommended it to me. Guys, I feel like after listening to that audiobook for this book, I can't go back to just reading it. It honestly feels like I'm listening to a movie. It's just without the visuals, obviously. I feel like I'm gonna have to listen to the audiobooks for the rest of this series though, because I don't know, I feel like I can't go back. And I feel like it's more immersive. Like, you feel like you're really in the world because there's sound effects and music, and because it's a full cast of people, it's also easier to keep track of all the different characters and names and places, because my biggest problem with this series when reading it is I was getting so confused with all the different characters because it's a very big cast of characters in this series. There's a lot of names that are very hard to pronounce, so listening to the audiobook has definitely helped with that. I don't know, it's just been more fun and entertaining. I also feel like I'm retaining the information more from the audiobook than just reading this. I feel like when I was reading this, I couldn't remember what I had just read. Like, I was having a hard time with it. I remember everything from the audiobook. So I don't know, I'm really enjoying it so far. I wanted to wrap it up though in this vlog. We are gonna finish the last 20 minutes with it and we'll talk about it then. I already have an idea of what I'm gonna rate it, but I have to finish the last part of it because everyone knows that Sarah J Maas is notorious for cliffhangers and ending her books on some crazy wild scene. We finished A Court of Wings and Ruin. This book, so many emotions. I feel like there's a lot to unpack here and not enough time. So I'm gonna keep it short and brief and spoiler free. I've been going back and forth between 4 and 5 stars for this book. I think I'm gonna land on 4 stars just because certain scenes in this book I wasn't like a big fan of, and when I was looking at other people's reviews, they also said the same thing. Don't get me wrong, I am a huge romance girly. I love, but there was something about the spice scenes in this book. I don't know, it just wasn't for me. I don't know, it was weird to me for some reason. I don't know why. It wasn't like my favorite, but other than that, I ate this book up. I loved every second of this. I think I talked about it a lot in part 2, but this was such like a big pivotal book in the storyline, I feel like, because we get so much character development in this and character building. We really dive in to the Bat Boys in this. We learn more about Cassian and Azriel, and you fall head over heels for both of them. I personally feel like after reading this book, I am like a huge Cassian girly. It's so weird to say, but like I am so invested in him and now, and I can't wait to read more about them because I hear A Court of Silver Flames, it's game over in that book. So I can't wait to get to that. Just swooning over their characters in this. It's definitely like an enemies to lovers vibe between the two of them. Bickering, the banter, it was just so perfect. Same thing with Azriel. I absolutely loved learning more about his character. I really think the audiobook made this so much better opposed to me just reading it on my own. Again, having that full cast, having the sound effects, the background music, you are immersed into the world and it feels like you're watching a movie. I just loved it. I really loved it. I think book 2 is still like my favorite out of the series just because it's such a big turning point and we have the biggest plot twist in that one, but at the same time I feel like this is a very, very close second, if not on the same pedestal, because I really, really loved the character development, the story building in this. It was just honestly like top tier, incredible. I understand the hype with this series after this one. The next book is super small. I think it's A Court of Frost and Starlight, and I think it's only like 200 pages, maybe not even, so it's like very, very tiny compared to the rest of these books. Could be considered a novella. With that being said, I am gonna take a break from that series because if you've read it, you already know it's a lot going on, so much happening in that world right now. For the sake of this vlog though, and because I want like an easygoing, fun romance, we're gonna jump into Broken Vow. This is book 5 in the Brutal Birthright series. It tells the story of Riona and Raylan. Raylan is like the best friend to Dante and they met when they were in the army, and Riona is a griffin and she's a lawyer and super badass, so I'm super excited to read about them. I think Raylan basically comes in at Dante's request to become like Riona's bodyguard or something. Obviously she doesn't like that. She doesn't want a bodyguard because she's super independent, so I feel like this is gonna be a lot of fun. I'm sensing a little bit of enemies to lovers in here, and yeah, we're gonna jump right into it. These books are so fun and fast-paced. I think the last book literally took me only like 4 hours to finish. They're very quick books to read, and that's what I love about them, and they're addicting, so I'm so excited for this. So it's the next day. We read a ton of this book yesterday, and then this morning I actually picked it up again and read like a few chapters. I'm on chapter 17, page 168. We're like a little bit more than halfway through the book. I'm probably gonna finish this today, but I wanted to do a little check-in with you guys. I feel like this is so different compared to the other books in the series, and it's super weird, but it's almost giving off. And you guys are gonna think I sound absolutely crazy for saying this, but it's almost giving off Chestnut Springs vibes. I love that series so much, and this whole book is like very similar vibes to it. Raylan comes from a very small town. He grew up on a ranch with his family, raising animals, stuff like that. The cowboy aesthetic and vibes are definitely showing in this book, and I'm so here for it. I'm loving every second of this, and I keep forgetting that it's part of the Brutal Birthright series, and it's part of like this dark mafia romance series, giving off very cowboy hero type of vibes. Basically, someone hires a hit on Riona, and after that happens, Dante and her brother basically recruit Raylan to come and be her bodyguard and protect her for the time being. And having Raylan by her side 24/7, sleeping outside her bedroom on her couch every night is driving her crazy. We're definitely getting a little bit of enemies to lovers in here. Raylan decides to take Riona out of town. That brings us to the small town that he grew up in. I've just been loving this so much. The vibes are just amazing. I feel like it may turn into my favorite one out of the whole series. There's also a lot going back and forth between the two of them. There's a lot of banter that I'm just living for. And then of course in between all of it, we're getting those sweet lovey-dovey moments where they're definitely falling for one another. Like, are you kidding? Literally, I can't. I am obsessed with this, but I'm actually gonna try and wrap this up, and then we're gonna move on and start the next book in this video, which I'm just so excited to start. It just came out the other day. I got it in the mail and I'm so excited to start it. It's the last book in its series, and I've just been waiting so long for it. I just wrapped up Broken Vow by Sophie Lark. I am so in shock right now with the entire book and the entire ending. It was so good. I think that may be like my favorite book out of the entire series, but we're gonna do a quick little review. Oh my gosh, it was so good. Like, guys, the Brutal Birthright series is unmatched. I am obsessed with it. I'm obsessed with Sophie Lark's writing style. It's just so addicting. You literally read a few pages of her book and you just have to keep going. With every single one of her books so far, I have just been unable to put them down. I've had to read them straight through. And last night when I was reading this, I was literally fighting myself and fighting my eyes to stay open so I could keep going and finish this, but I was just so tired. I had to get some sleep. I don't know, this just has a special place in my heart, and I really think it has to do with the fact that it has small town cowboy vibes in it. I don't know what it is about those vibes, but they get me. They get me every time, and everything about this was just so good. And I think like the plot twist too towards the end was just crazy. The entire time reading it, I wasn't expecting it, and then as we were getting closer, I was like, oh my gosh, what if it's so and so? And then we got to it and I was right, and I was like, and I was also kind of annoyed with myself that I didn't catch on sooner, because I feel like I should have caught on sooner, but at the same time, I just thought it was so fun. I just loved their dynamic together, and I loved how Raylan was able to like bring Rihanna down a little bit and show her that it's okay to be taken care of and it's okay to ask for help and have someone there with you. Could not recommend it enough. 4 stars. And what I love so much about reading this book right now and reviewing it with you guys is our next book. I am so stinking excited for this book. I've been waiting for Beau's story since book 1, honestly. In book 3, which is Powerless, we kind of see on the sidelines some crazy stuff happen with Beau, and you're kind of wondering, like, since that book, what really happened to him and what has like caused him to change completely. So I've been so excited and patiently waiting for this book to come. We are going to be hopping into it tonight. It's the last book, I believe, in the Chestnut Spring series, and I'm very heartbroken about it. I don't want it to end. I love this series. I love every couple from every book. They have such a special place in my heart. This is supposed to be like a fake dating, fake marriage trope, which I'm very excited about. And this tells a story of Beau and a shy girl named Bailey. She's a bartender at one of the bars in their small town. There's also like an age gap in here because Beau, I believe, is 35 and Bailey's only 22. And I'm so excited for this. I've been waiting for this for so long. But yeah, we are gonna hop into this. We're gonna start it. I really want to take my time with it because it's the last book in the series, but at the same time, I know I'm not gonna be able to put it down, and I'm just gonna want to race through it. So Elsie is not playing around with this one. We are on page, oh my gosh, we're on page 100. They're already engaged. They have already initiated the fake engagement, and I'm already loving it. Are we surprised? I'm already obsessed with Beau and Bailey and their whole dynamic. Like, I feel like Elsie Silver is just so good at writing tension in romance books. Right in the beginning, you can feel the tension between Beau and Bailey, and I don't know, I'm just loving it. And although Bailey comes across as this super shy girl, when she's just with Beau, this like different side of her comes out that's super fun and playful, and she's always teasing him. They have this little banter going back and forth between the two of them, and it's just so stinking cute. I can't with this. We're also seeing Beau be the hero that he is. Right in the beginning, he's kind of like flying to Bailey's rescue out of nowhere, and it's kind of how the whole thing kind of starts up and they start talking. Something else I also love about this series is that in every single book, without fail, we get to see the other couples from the other books, and it just makes my heart so stinking happy to visit those past couples. Yeah, I'm just loving this so much. We're also seeing the struggles that Beau has been going through since he's been home, and it's already getting me. We're only 100 pages in and I'm obsessed with it, and I already want to say that this is going to be my favorite book. I have this weird feeling that Beau is going to be my favorite. I don't know. I love this series so much though. We're going to keep going. I'm going to try and slow down. I feel like it's crazy that I've already read 100 pages. I'm flying through this, but you know the happy feeling inside, like those happy butterflies? That's what I'm getting right now from this. wanted to do our final check-in for the vlog and kind of wrap it up. I did finish Hopeless earlier today. I mean, I already told you guys before we even finished this, but it's a 5-star read. It's my favorite book out of the series. I know I say that with every book in the series, but like Bo and Bailey have such a special place in my heart. I loved their story so much, and I feel like there was just something different about them because I feel like the first 3-4 books in the Chestnut Spring series kind of all ended in a similar way, and I feel like their ending was a little bit different. The epilogue was absolutely perfect. We did get a little sneak peek into her new series that she's going to be releasing, I think early next year, so that was actually really cool. And book 1 in that series, I can't remember if it's called Wild Love or not, but it's something like that, and it's going to revolve around Willa's brother, and I feel like it's going to be so much fun. So I cannot wait for that series. And then I did read a few more chapters in Wildfire. This book is so cute and cozy, and it's making me so happy. I am adoring Russ and Aurora right now. Like I said earlier, Russ is just like the cutest, sweetest, shyest guy ever, and Aurora is very like bold and out there, but she also has a shy side when she's around Russ. I'm on chapter 15. Things are kind of like heating up. I feel like it's like almost a slow burn in a way because they're not allowed to technically be together while they're at camp. It's like against the rules. I've also been keeping up with the tabbing in this, which has been very fun. I love tabbing my books. I just feel like it looks really cool at the end. Having this little key here is making it so much fun and so easy. But like I love that. Like I kind of wish I had a key like this for every book, because sometimes I just kind of go through and tab quotes I like. But with this key, I like am able to tab specific parts of the book according to the colors, and I just have been having a lot of fun with that. Part of me kind of wishes I tabbed the other copy because this is the special edition one, but it's whatever. And then I also started another book. I got an arc of King of Greed by Anna Hong, and she's literally one of my favorite authors. I'm such a big fan of the Twisted series. I absolutely loved the first 2 books in the Kings of Sin series, so when I saw I was getting an arc for this book, I literally freaked out. I was so excited. I didn't think I was gonna like this book because of the trope and like the storyline that's kind of hinted at the beginning. I'm on chapter 12 now of King of Greed, and I'm loving it. I'm actually kind of obsessed. Basically, Dom is like a workaholic, and he is just constantly working and not paying attention to his wife, so she finally has had enough, decides to basically leave him and serve him divorce papers. So now we're kind of seeing the aftermath of that, and we're watching Dominic kind of fight to keep his wife and not get a divorce, and like all this crazy stuff is happening. And going into this story, I didn't think I was really gonna like it because I don't know, it just sounds like super sad. I've never really read a book like that where one person is like trying to divorce the other person and the other person is like fighting to keep that person, but I'm liking it. I think it's really cute and sweet. I'm liking how we're seeing Dominic kind of change his like lifestyle and stuff to try and keep his wife. But that is all for my reading vlog. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you had fun. We got through some pretty good books in today's vlog. So we started with a review of Bloody Heart, and that was 4 stars. I love Dante's story. And then we moved in to Broken Vow, which was Riona's story and Raylan. That was a lot of fun. It gave off Chestnut Spring vibes. Absolutely loved it. 4 stars. We also finished A Court of Wings and Ruin by Sarah J. Maas. 4 stars. Love that world. Love that series. Obsessed with those characters. I truly think I have turned into a Cassian girly after book 3. I'm so excited to move on to the last 2 books in the series. Then we moved on to Hopeless by Elsie Silver, the very last book in the Chestnut Spring series. 5 stars. Obsessed with Bo and Bailey. Will never ever stop thinking about them. Comment down below if you have read any of the books that I read in today's video, and let me know what your ratings were on them and what you thought of them. And yeah, that's all from me. Stay tuned for future reading vlogs and future fall cozy vlogs. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you in my next video.
Afternoon on a train, I only took it because it started to rain. Afternoon in the forest,